So this is the tutorial for the value scale Photoshop template. I have downloaded the Photoshop file, the value scale Photoshop template. When I try to open it in Photoshop, I'll get a dialog box that looks just like this. The first thing we're going to do is change the image size to 11 inches for the width and then 8.5 for the height. You want to keep these parameters the same. RGB, remember, for anything on the web. So all of this looks good. You can make changes to any of these. This is the bounding box around the image. And you can also rename the template here to your last name, first name, and that saves a step on the end. So once you're done, go ahead and click OK. It'll pull up with a transparent background. If you find that difficult to work with, you can just pop on over to the toolbar. So this is similar to Illustrator, where we have our toolbar on the left-hand side. Our menu is at the very top of the screen, and on the right-hand side are all of our windows. So the similar workspace, few differences. So remember, Photoshop is for photos and Illustrator is for illustration, for drawing and laying out images. So if you're having a hard time working with the transparent background, you have a color picker here, similar to the one we've worked with, and shortcut key X toggles back and forth between the two. And so you'll make sure white is on the front. You can hover over any of these tools and figure out what they do. You're going to find the paint bucket tool that's here. Make sure it's selected by paint bucket, and similar to Illustrator, when you pop down anything with a little white triangle on the bottom, there's another set of tools underneath it. So we're going to use the paint bucket tool, and we're going to just go right in that transparent area. So it's a little bit easier to see. We're going to be working with the marquee tool and the paint bucket tool that's here, and the color picker. So if you double click in the top of these two boxes, you get another menu called the color picker. We're going to primarily work from the top to bottom left-hand side of the color picker, but you can make adjustments in hue by changing this bar here. So that's going between hues. To add white, you go along the top. To add black, you go straight down along the right-hand side, and to add gray, you move diagonally. So we're going to be working just in achromatic top to bottom today. So I'm going to cancel out of that. The first thing I want to do is select the area that I want to work with. I recommend we're going to start using the gradient. We're going to start with the gradient tool. The marquee tool selects the area in which you will make adjustments in. So in addition to the paint bucket tool that is here, and the color picker that can be found here when you double click, the marquee tool is where we're going to start. We're going to add to that the gradient tool, which is underneath the paint bucket tool. Once I select the gradient tool, I get a different set of options. Options are what you can find in the top hand bar. And to make adjustments to the gradient, I'm going to double click inside that space. And what pops up is the gradient editor. If I single click on the tab, so these are the tabs that change the gradient in various ways. And what I did there was actually, if you pull down, you can delete a tab. And if you click, you can add a tab. You can change the rate of which the blend happens by changing the middle bar. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a gradient between black and white. So once you select the tab that you're going to work with, you're going to single click in color, and it automatically pulls up the color picker. So on one side, we're going to want white. And on the other side, we're going to want black. So I'll start here and placing black in this one, single click until the color that's inside the tab pops up here. And I'm going to select white on this side and click OK. Now there's an extra tab in here. To get rid of it, I'm just going to pull it down. Once I have my gradient, I click OK. I'm going to click at the very beginning of the marquee tool, and you could finish a little bit further. The only thing affected will be what's inside the box that we've created there. So once that is done, you want to hit select, deselect, shortcut key Command D to deselect that area. What you're going to do is create a step scale going from black to white. Now imagine the step scale as a set of stairs. Each step up must be equal to the step before it. So imagine walking up a set of stairs where every stair is uneven, you might trip. The same thing happens when people see a step scale where there are uneven steps. And it's okay to use that, just making sure it's intentional. For this particular exercise, we want even steps from one to the next. How you're going to create your step scale is use the marquee tool to designate an area. The tool we're going to use to sample the color will be the eyedropper tool. The eyedropper tool inside, and if you notice as I move, the color being sampled by the eyedropper tool changes. We're going to start with black, and we're going to go back to the gradient tool, select the paint bucket. And as you can see, it's giving me an X mark over that marquee tool. So let's go ahead and create a new layer. And now you can create things. There's a couple different ways to make that a workable layer, but for now, we'll just leave it like that. Once you're done, you'll go back to the marquee tool and shortcut key Command D to deselect. And you'll select your next scale. So using the eyedropper tool, you're going to go across, thinking about moving in equal steps, going back and forth, paint bucket tool. And if you just click, you can select the next area. And so I can see on my first one, there's a little bit of space between. So I'm going to go ahead and delete, Command D to deselect. And I want to make sure, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I want no spaces between. So as long as there's spaces between, your eyes will add color to that area. So I'm going to take my next step here, go over to my paint bucket tool. And then once I'm done, I can also move it over to make sure that there's no space between the two. And then I will repeat that step. In the next area, select the eyedropper tool and move along step by step, making sure there's no white space between the two. Command D to deselect. Command D to deselect. And if I need to fill in an area, I can use, again, the marquee tool just to make sure everything matches up just right. Back over to the paint bucket tool to fill in that area. Command D to deselect. And I'll go all the way across, making even steps from one side to the next. Eyedropper tool, paint bucket tool, Command D to deselect, just to make sure everything is smooth and smooth transition. If you're having a hard time matching up your lines, what you can do is click and hold in the top. And we also learned about guides in our vase activity. And you can place guides on either side. And then when you notice it, when you create your marquee tool, it snaps to that area. I'm going to go back to the eyedropper tool, paint bucket tool, Command D to deselect. I can just add a guide for the next area. back to marquee tool. It'll snap to that area. Eyedropper tool. To sample the color, paint bucket tool. I'm holding down the space bar just like in Illustrator to move around without affecting anything. And click and drag it from the ruler to the side, and you can place another guide. Eyedropper tool. So I select the color, then I use the paint bucket to place the color there. And on to the next one, guide first. So I'm just clicking and dragging from the ruler, make sure I'm selected on the marquee tool. You can also move around the marquee tool. Now I'm going to command -sign just to zoom out. To remove the guides, you go to View, Clear Guides. And now I have my step scale that goes from one side to the next side in even steps. When you're done, you'll do File, Save, and you'll select where it's going to save. Even if you're not on a Mac, you can save to the computer. If you have a specific folder, so on my desktop, I usually like to have a new folder and I call it Demo. You can call it Work, and then you can save it in that space. So I'm saving the Photoshop file, and then I'm going to do Save As, save to my computer. It's automatically going to go to the same space. I'm saving the working file in case I have to make any changes. And now I'm going to go back in and save it as a JPEG. So similar to Illustrator, you might not see it in this area, and that's okay. So for JPEG, you're actually going to do the similar process that we do in Illustrator, which is we export. So we're going to export as. Here in the top, you're going to change the format to JPEG. And medium quality is pretty good, or good is also close. It's pretty much saying medium as well. Go ahead and select export. And I made a folder for the desktop that says demo. So I find that folder that I created, and if I don't see it, I'll just go here. I might have put it in another, there it is. So there's multiple demos in mine, and then I'll save it there as well.